Guys, welcome to the part 2 of this AQA GCSE Religious Studies Islam content video. So this part is based on worship and duties and festivals in Islam. On my last video I did authority and beliefs in authority in my first video, which I recommend you should watch first, because this sort of leads on to part 2. So the rest of the Islam content is in this video, and yeah, after this video it's basically everything in Islam that's covered. So let's go through it. Just a quick recap. These two videos is everything in the Islam AQA content on the specification, but simplified, excluding quotes. The quotes can be from the Quran, which is a direct word of God, the Hadith, which is the doings and the sayings of the Prophet, the Sunnah, which is the recorded life of the Prophet, the Sharia law, which is the Islamic rules to fit modern day, and everything, well, not everything, well, most things can link to the themes that we also have to study. For example, pilgrimage, we have to wear white to show purity and equality. So remember, 48 marks per religion. My school does Islam and Christianity. Your school might be doing something different, but there's 96 marks available in the religious side, and then another 96 marks available in the themes side, if I'm correct. There's 4 themes to study, which I plan to do in a later video, and if my Islam content is alright, I might do a Christianity content one as well on a later video. I also plan to do RS past papers with mark schemes and examiner reports. And please do keep in mind I'm still ill, so this video won't really be as good as it could have been, because I really want to put this video out before I end up focusing on my mocks more. What I've done here is I've looked at the spec and I've summarised everything that's in there. Okay, so I'm so ill. Okay, so continuing from part 1. Okay, so around the world, 90% of Muslims is Sunni. They follow the Sunni way of Islam. Examples of those is Pakistan and Indonesia. 10% of Muslims is Shia, so I forgot the other bracket there, but Iran and Iraq are 2 examples of Shia dominant countries. Okay, so we've got the 5 pillars. 5 pillars of the Sunni Islam. Number 1, Shahada. This is the declaration of faith. It's the first thing converts say to make them Muslim. It's literally all you got to do to become Muslim is say that there is no God except Allah and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. This is repeated multiple times during the Muslim life. Number 2, Salah. There's quite a lot you've got to learn about Salah. There's 5 must prayers a day. You don't have to remember these Arabic terms, but there's Fajr, Zuhr, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha in time order. So Fajr being the early one, Isha being the one before bed, and it's spread across the day. Muslims have to pray to show obedience to Allah, follows the actions of the Prophet and how he used to pray. Because the fact is, we need Allah, but Allah doesn't need us, so that's why we ask for his guidance and his support. When praying, you have to face the holy city Mecca, which is, the Arabic term is Qibla in Saudi Arabia. Wudu is ablution, so it's the cleaning of the body before prayer. Shia see it as part of the Salah, and Sunni see it as preparation for the prayer. Rakats is the term used of the number of set actions in the prayer. For example, 2, 3 and 4. For example, Fajr is 2 rakats in Isha, and Isha is 4, or Maghrib is 3. But you don't have to really remember that, but that's what I mean by it. Followed by dua, which is often a wish. You can think of it as people usually ask for forgiveness and ease during their life, as modern life is really hectic. Recitation, you might remember from the extract from when learning about the Night of Power, when Jibreel said to Muhammad, Iqra, which is the Arabic word for read. You got to remember the key parts in Salah, but I'm not going to mention all of them because it's too time consuming. But remember that one key movement is sajda, where you put your head on the ground and say glory be to God Most High 3 times. There are other parts, but I recommend you go and do some revision on that, like BBC Bite Size, or there's other websites out there, but there's too much for me to write here. You can pray at home or the mosque, but the mosque is more rewardable. It's recommended. Women usually pray at home. The Friday prayer is usually led by an imam, and it's a substitute for Zuhr. It usually takes place at 1 p.m, but it can change to 12 p.m. or to 1:30. So it's in that time gap of sunrise. People usually take a day off work to go to the mosque. A khutbah, which is a lecture presented regarding worldly issues linked to Islam, which is followed by a 2 rakat for Allah, 2 rakat prayer. The key difference in prayer is that when in sajda, Sunnis put their head on the ground, because Prophet Muhammad said the whole world is a praying mat. So, which implies that you could do salah anywhere, but in a clean place. Shia put their heads on a stone while on the ground. I forgot the reason behind it, but you could probably search that up. Sunnis pray 5 a day. Some Shias do pray 5 a day, but they mainly do 3 a day. They combine Fajr with Zuhr, so the early 2, and Asr and Maghrib, which is the midday 2, and Isha, the late 1, is left to pray by itself. Sawm. Sawm is fasting during Ramadan, so richer people understand the hunger that poor people have to go to and understand their situation and the desperation. And this could have a knock-on effect to zakat when they give money and any extra sadaqah. It's dawn to sunset, no food or drink. Ends when the rival Eid al-Fitr comes, which I'll talk about later in the festival section, and follows the way the Prophet fasted and the way of fasting, and it teaches them self-discipline. Fasting is excused for the elderly, the pregnant, sick, and the young. But if you start trying to fast from a young age, it puts you into the habit, so you're ready when you're older. Sometimes fasting falls in the month of exams, so some students fast while doing the actual exams. Like last year, I had a cousin who had to do his GCSEs while fasting for every single one of them. And when you're fasting, it usually gets you a bit dizzy, but it is what it is. But some people don't fast while doing their exams, but people have free will, so they can do whatever they want. Zakat. Zakat is 2.5% to charity. It helps them to not be greedy and helps them in the afterlife, because the more you give, the better situation you'll be in the afterlife. Extra donation is known as sadaqah, almsgiving. Charities such as Muslim Aid take zakat and support poor countries with food, water, clothes, shelter, etc. Shia also gives khums, which I'll talk about later as well. So Hajj is the pilgrimage to Mecca at least once in a lifetime, if you are physically fit and financially able to. Some people give zakat money so they can support Hajj goers, because the trip can be expensive. So the next part I'm going to talk about is the story of basically the story of the Kaaba, which you can refer to. So here there's a small family, Ibrahim being one of the prophets, Hajira, which is the mother, and Ismail, which is the son. Allah told them to go to Arabia. Allah told Ibrahim to go to Arabia, leaving Hajar and Ismail at Hajj with some food and water. They ran out of food and water and ran between two hills, Safa and Marwa, in search of it. They couldn't find any more water, so they prayed for some. Water sprang out the ground from a source called Zamzam. People now take this water home as it's sacred to drink and cleans the soul. So events at Hajj, when you're at pilgrimage, there's a few things you have to do. And that follows, you have to wear white cloth, which shows purity and equality. Circle the Kaaba, which is metaphorically known as Allah's house, because Allah is out of this world. 7 times, which is known as Tawaf. You got to drink Zamzam water, and you can take some of that home as well to distribute between family and friends. Run between the two hills like Hajar and Ismail did. Usually Saudi Arabia is really hot, so it's meant to be a difficult time. You got to pray out Mount Arafat, because this is where the centre of Day of Judgment will take place, where everyone is judged. This will be the centre. You got to spend the night that's meant to be Mazdalifa, and collect pebbles during that stay. And the pebbles are meant to be thrown to show rejecting the devil at the 3 pillars. And Eid al-Adha is celebrated around the world, which is known as the slaughter of animals. I will talk about that later as well in the festival section. And remember, during this pilgrimage, people are constantly praying, because it is the main house of Allah. So people usually face the Qibla, which is Mecca, and the fact that you're there is really special to pray just outside the centre where everyone else is praying towards. Okay, so now the Shia 10 obligatory acts. So Salah, Zakah, Sawm and Hajj, like above, is the same beliefs, but they have another 6 more. Khums is a 10% tax, usually 10% to religious leaders and 10% to the poor. Jihad means struggle, literally translates to struggle. And lesser is holy war, but this is seen as less important. Modern day groups use this as an excuse to do unnecessary killing and terrorism, but it's used as last resorts or when Muslims are under threat, similar to the just war theory in Christianity. The Prophet had many battles during his time as Muslims were under threat, just like the Battle of Badr and Uhud. The greater jihad is known as eternal in busy, stressful modern life. To successfully pray 5 a day, or give charity despite selfish temptations or wanting to steal something but stopping yourself, that's known as good, greater jihad. Tawala is known as the loving of followers of Islam, and Tabara is avoiding enemies of Islam. Amr bil Maruf is halal, so eating halal meat, earning money the halal way, not drug or robbing it. And Nahi anil munkar is avoiding haram, not drinking, not stealing, not killing, not being disrespectful. Okay, I made another error. It says not being respectful. It's meant to be not being disrespectful to parents, and not smoking, because they're all considered haram and not right. So especially with these last 4, it might be a bit more difficult to learn, but you have to know the Arabic terms: Tawala, Tabara, Amr bil Maruf, and Nahi anil Munkar. Even myself, I've got to remember these, and I'm kind of struggling, but it is what it is. If you learn them, it'll be good. It'll be really beneficial. Okay, lastly, the festivals bit. Okay, just starting off with Eid al-Fitr, which is after Ramadan. Night of Power falls in this month toward the end, when the Quran was revealed. For about 30 days of fasting and long prayers at night, called Taraweeh. This festival is known as breaking the fast. People thank Allah for the strength to go through it all. Eid service prayer at mosques, which is usually 2 rakats, and mosques can get really busy, so sometimes they have to take it outside on like fields and open spaces. Typical things people do is wear new best clothes, visit family and friends, donate to charity, have a massive meal because they've just gone through 30 days of not eating during daytimes. It's not a holiday in England, but many Muslims will take off days off school or work. Now, you got to remember that this is Eid al-Fitr, and some people get Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha mixed up. You can't just say Eid, it has to be the ending as well. So Eid al-Adha is the one known as the sacrifice that I've mentioned quite a lot before on my past readings. So Ibrahim was about to sacrifice his son Ismail under the command of Allah, and the last second Allah switched it for a lamb. Muslims sacrifice animals, but Allah doesn't want the meat or animals. He wants to see people are devoted to him. Obligatory to donate money so poor can celebrate too. You visit family and friends, including gift exchanges. There's a special prayer service, 2 rakats at the mosque, just like Eid al-Fitr. Sheep and goats are slaughtered. In the UK, it must be at slaughterhouses, and this meat is shared, a third for the family, a third for the friends, and a third to the poor. So you can see how the poor is highly regarded in Islam, like charity and feeding them and respecting them. So it shows another sense of equality there. Lastly, Ashura. Sunnis see it as when Noah left his ark, Moses saved his people from the Egyptians, it's meant to say. And then Shia also on Ashura see the anniversary of the assassination of Ali, because they respect Ali a bit more than how Sunnis do. Remember that Ali is the grandson and the grandson, it was something else as well, of Ali, so he's quite related to Prophet Muhammad, but not as important as Prophet Muhammad himself. Another useful event to keep in mind is Rabi ul Awal, which is known as Prophet's birthday. If you can't remember that, it doesn't matter, because it's not on the spec, but you can include it in 12 markers if it's about festivals. And well done. You've reached the end. That's everything in the AQA's Islam spec. I mean, if you need to go through this video a few times, then go ahead. But I do hope everything helps. And the exams on here, like you might watch this video just for some revision, or the day before revision, or the day before the exam, in fact. And I hope it does help. Remember that quotes are really important. Especially in the 5 markers and the 12 markers, you're going to have to use quotes. I'll try and make a video on them soon, because I know quite a few quotes. But, to like fit all the key parts of religious studies, I'm going to have to make them separately. So I'm a Year 11 student as well, if you haven't noticed, and I hope everything helps you. And that's it in Islam. Good luck in your exams, and I hope the best for you.